One of the most common questions that I get asked from new content creators is once you've got the basics sorted, you've got yourself a workable camera, microphone, gaming setup if you're making gaming videos, what is the very first thing you should spend money on for an upgrade? Spoilers for the rest of the video. The right answer is lighting, and this video is going to show you why. Hello and welcome to the Content Academy. My name is Kevin Chapman. I've been a full-time content creator for the past 5 years, and this channel is designed to help you up your content creation game too. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on to make sure you don't miss out on any of the future videos. And if you get any value out of this video, if you just enjoy watching it, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. It really does help me out with getting these videos out there to more and more people. In today's video, we're going to be looking at lighting and why, for me, it is the most important first upgrade once you've got your basic setup up and running. So what I mean by basic setup is if you're making gaming videos, at the very least, you've got some way to capture your gaming footage. You've got some kind of webcam to capture your face and some kind of microphone to capture your voice. If you're making non-gaming videos, your requirements are even lower. You literally just need a camera and some kind of microphone. Once you've got those basics in place, what is the next thing that you should be spending money on? And some people will say you need to be upgrading your microphone. Some will say you need to get these fancy studio arm things, or stream decks, or soundboards, or mixers, or multiple monitors, or all standing desks, all manner of things that you can use. And they will all upgrade your setup. But the thing that's going to make the single most difference is getting your lighting right. Don't believe me? This is what this shot looks like when I only have the normal overhead lighting in this room. Quite a bit of a difference from the shot I opened the video with. I'm going to show you how I achieve this look and how you can do it too without actually having to spend a fortune. So let's go back to basics. Get back to the rubbish lighting from before, and let's build back up to that other look step by step. So when setting up your perfect YouTube or streaming lighting setup, there's two things you need to be considering. You need to be considering how to properly light you or the subject that you're filming, and then also how to light the background so that it just makes it a little bit more interesting. And we're going to go through both of those using a system called 3-point lighting. It's taken me many years to master this, and I think in recent months, I'm finally there, which is why I'm so excited to show this video. It's something I should have done a long time ago, but I'm so glad I've got sorted now. So in order to light myself first and then worry about the background later, the first thing you need is a key light. Now that can be a fancy Elgato key light, which is actually what I use. I've got one up there and one just over there. But it doesn't have to be an Elgato light. It can just as easily be any kind of light source, lamp, softbox. You can pick up pretty reasonably priced lighting off of Amazon for a relatively low cost. My first 4 years making gaming videos on YouTube, I use an Amazon softbox that I picked up for 30 or 40 pounds. I'll try and find it and link to it down below, and it definitely did the job for the longest time. And the only reason I switched to the Elgato key lights is because they attached to the back of the desk and allowed me to rotate my desk and push it against the wall. Whereas before, because the lamps were on stands, I had to have the desk in the middle of the room with the lamps the other side of them, and it took up a lot more space. So for me, it's just a space saving thing. It allows me to get a bit more space behind me so I can have more of a cooler backdrop. So let's have a look at the difference that just one main key light makes. And you want your key light relatively close to where you're looking with your camera. I've got mine just slightly offset to the side. You want it offset to one side or the other so that you get a little bit of contrast and shadow on your face. Contrast and shadow is good. It took me a long time to learn that. Again, for years, I would just absolutely light both sides of my face up to the max. We want no shadow here. And it's a weird look that you don't get anywhere else in film. So I am going to kill the main lights, turn one key light on, and show you the difference that makes. So all lighting in the room is now off. The only thing that's on is my monitors, but the camera settings are set down to such a point where having the monitors glaring on my face makes no difference. So we're just going to turn on the one main key light, and there is my face. And I'm going to suggest you build your lighting setup gradually, because I'm sure you'll agree that this look is already infinitely better than when I was just lit by the ceiling light with no actual professional lighting coming up my face. So even if you were taking your setup from just being sat in a room with a normal light to something like this, you've already massively upgraded the look and the feel of your setup. Once you've got the main light on, the next thing is to add your fill light. So we've got the big bright key light. We then want a less bright fill light, which, as the name suggests, is just going to fill in some of the shadows that are going to appear on this side of my face. So I'm being lit from over here. So the light is coming into this side of my face. This side, there's more shadow. By adding in a fill from this side that's not as bright as the main light, it just evens out some of those shadows whilst leaving some of the contrast there. So I'm just going to stick that one on as well. There we go. That one is a lot dimmer than the other one. So what you should have noticed is it's just added a little bit of extra light to that side of my face. Again, I've got that one much dimmer than the main one because I think once I have all of my lighting set up, that achieves me the best look. If I didn't have any of the background lighting, I might just nudge the brightness up on that one just a smidgen. But I think, again, we're getting somewhere now. We're improving this look. It already is looking pretty cool. And the final part of our 3-point lighting setup is to add the third point, which is the one from behind, the halo light or hair light. It's going to stop my dark hair blending in with my dark background and becoming kind of just you're not really sure where I start and the background stops. I'll go and turn it on. I have got a remote for it, but I've lost it. So I'm going to go over there, turn it on, and you'll see the difference it makes when we put that on and how it just makes me pop out from the background a little bit more. You can see the full outline of me. There we are with the hair light on as well. And if you just do these three, you're good. This is, I think, for me, I am now lit perfectly. The only thing I want to do now is add some interest to the background. I've deliberately got the light behind me in shot because I think it adds a nice little bit of interest. I could have had that off the frame and still sort of coming in from the side, and it would do a similar effect, but I quite like having it in shot. And as you'll notice from my full setup, I do like to have lots of little bits of light to offer some interest in the background, because otherwise the background can look very plain and dark and dull. And for some people, that's the look they're going for. For me, not so much. I want something in the background. So I've got a couple of different ways to do that. I've got a couple of functional lights that are in the background. I've got a Pac-Man light over here. If we turn him on, you can just about see sort of through the microphone stand on this camera. But if I switch to my other camera, which I use for a lot of my gaming videos, he's much clearer in the background. It just gives a little bit of light in an area of the shot that was previously pretty dull. I've also got a lamp back there, which again, you can only really see from this shot, but it's got an RGB bulb in it, so I can mess around and change the colors of my lamp according to what color I want to show back there. And it just adds a little bit more interest into the background from this shot. And then the other functional lighting that I've got is more about this shot. So I've just turned on an LED strip that I've got going around the cupboard behind me, which adds a little bit of a pop of color in there. I've also got my neon on-air light back in the background that, because it's about as far away from this camera as you can get in this room, it really shows off the nice bokeh effect that we've got in here, blurs into the background. I think it's a really cool look. I did have a light beam in that corner as well, a LifeX beam. I broke it. There's another one on the way. So there would normally be a beam in that corner as well for a little bit more fun in that corner. And then the other thing that I've got is a couple of really cheap RGB floodlights that I got off Amazon for like £25 each, just to flood the background with color, to give different effects depending on what I'm looking to do. For these videos, I often use a red background because I think it looks pretty cool. For my gaming videos, because I'm mainly doing Football Manager gaming videos, I try and match the color of the backfill to the color that the team I'm managing plays in. It's a little nerdy touch, I know, but I think, again, it's just adding more layers of cool and good lighting to the look. And that's with the floodlights on as well. And this is now my current preferred shot, my preferred lighting setup. And I think for a cost of, I mean, yes, the Elgato lights are expensive, but they don't need to be. So we'll assume we've got that kind of light that I've got behind me here and there, because you don't need the fancy Elgato ones that are like £180 each. You can get 3 of those LED panels on a stand for maybe £150 off of Amazon, which, yeah, it's not cheap, but I wouldn't recommend you do this until you're starting to make some money from your content creation. I would always say, when it comes to investing in improving your content, don't spend money you haven't already earned through creating the content unless you really, really are going for it and you're willing to lose that money. Because until you know you're going to be earning some money, there's no guarantee you're ever going to get that money back. But once you are starting to earn some money, I'm a very firm believer in reinvesting as much of that as you can back into improving the content. And this is where you can spend a relatively small amount of money on lighting to really make it look cool. So we've got our 3-point lighting for maybe £150. The 2 floodlights that I'm using, £50 for the total. The Pac-Man light I've got was a gift, as was the neon light. I suggest you could probably get the 2 of them for less than £100 combined, and they don't need to be that fancy, just some kind of lighting in the background. The RGB lamp that I've got that you see in this shot, that was an IKEA paper stand lamp that cost about £12 with an RGB light bulb that I got off of Amazon for about £5. The LED strips that are running around the background, they're like £15 off of Amazon. This entire lighting setup in here, even with my very expensive Elgato lighting that I use, it's well under £500 to just massively upgrade the quality of the camera that I'm using on the stream, to the point where if your choice is between upgrading from a webcam to a DSLR, which is like a £500, £600, £700 upgrade, if not more, if you get a decent lens, you're looking at £1,000 upgrade to go from webcam to DSLR. If that's where you are and you haven't yet spent any money on lighting, I would abandon that plan, spend less than half the money, sort your lighting first, and then decide if you need to go for a DSLR, or if by adding some quality lighting to your webcam, you can actually get the look you're going for less money just by lighting yourself properly. And then later down the line, you'll probably still get the DSLR as well. Because if there's one thing that as content creators tend to have in common, it's we like to spend money on fancy little bits of tech to make our streams and our videos look a little bit better. It's an illness that there's no cure for, but hopefully I've been able to guide you in a good direction so you don't make some of the mistakes that I've made over the years with oversaturating myself with light and getting the angles all wrong and backgrounds that were awful. And like I say, it's taken me a long time to learn to get to this point, and hopefully this will get you to this kind of point a little bit faster, which is, I think, a really cool, really professional looking backdrop and lighting on me as well. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my current lighting and setup, how it compares to yours. If you want to share pictures of how you've got your setup lit and your cool effects that you've got, feel free to hit me up on social media. Twitter is probably the best place to get hold of me for that. If you want to discuss this in person, we can do that on my Twitch. I stream 4 nights a week on Twitch, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, 8 PM UK time. I'm always happy to talk about this stuff a little bit more over there. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video or got something out of it. If you have, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all of my future videos. Thank you very much for watching.